So good morning everyone. So today we will be discussing the chapter 3, which is the assessing the internal environment of the firm. But why do we need to study the internal environment of the firm? So internal analysis examines your organization's internal environment in order to assess its resources, competencies, and competitive advantages. Performing an internal analysis allows you to identify the strengths and weaknesses of your organization.
Let's take a look at the learning objectives of this chapter. First, the primary and support activities of the firm. Second, how the value chain analysis can help managers create value by investigating relationships among activities within the firm and between the firm and its customers and suppliers. Third, the resource-based view of the firm and the different types of tangible and intangible resources, as well as the organizational capabilities. Fourth, the four criteria that a firm's resources must possess to maintain a sustainable advantages and how a created value can be appropriated by employees and managers. Fifth, the usefulness of financial ratio analysis, its inherent limitations, and how to make meaningful comparisons of performance across firms. And last, the value of the balanced scorecard in recognizing how the interests of a variety of stakeholders can be interrelated.
So first, let's discuss value chain analysis. When we say value chain analysis, it views the organization as a sequential process of value creating activities. When we say value, it is the amount the buyers are willing to pay for what a firm provides them and is measured by total revenue. A firm is profitable when the value exceeds the total cost involved in creating its product or services. So creating the value for buyers that exceeds the cost of production is a concept in use in analyzing a firm's competitive competitions. So Porter described two different types, the primary and support activities. So primary activities. Primary activities consist of the inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and services. So when we say inbound logistics, these are associated with receiving, storing, distributing inputs to the product. So as to inbound logistics of Apple, Apple works with hundreds of suppliers around the globe and maintains a highly sophisticated supply chain management. So the sources of its hardware involves United States, China, other Asian countries, and Europe. So let's take a look at the operations of Apple. So Apple does not own any manufacturing facilities and prefers to outsource its hardware to other companies in developing countries such as China. While this strategy provides advantages such as focus on core competencies of the business, such as research and design and designing new products, it also has disadvantages such as it creates the image of Apple more vulnerable to labor issues, which has been the case of Apple in numerous times already. So let's take a look at the operations of Apple. So Apple does not own any manufacturing facilities and prefers to outsource manufacturing of its hardware to other companies in developing countries, notably China. While this strategy provides advantages such as focus on core competence of the business, such as research and development and designing new products, it also has disadvantages. Specifically, outsourcing makes the company brand image vulnerable to labor issues at supplier facilities, which has been the case of Apple a number of times already.
Next is outbound logistics.
These are associated with collecting, storing, distributing the product or services to the buyers. So let's take a look at the outbound logistics of Apple. This involves the warehousing and distribution of ready iPhones, iPads, Mac computers, and other products produced by the company. For technology items such as smartphones, tablets, and laptops, inventory depreciation rates are very high due to short product life cycle. Apple management recognizes this critically important aspect of the business. CEO Tim Cook once compared his business to diary businesses, and accordingly, the company tries to keep minimum inventory in their warehouses. The company ships finished products to Apple stores that are typically located at high traffic locations in quality shopping malls and urban shopping districts. E-commerce are rightly acknowledged by the company as a massive source of value in terms of inbound logistics because e-commerce is more cost-effective compared to sales via Apple Store. Due to the efforts of the company in this direction, Apple Incorporation has become the largest retailer in the US in terms of the size of e-commerce business, only behind Amazon and Walmart. So, marketing and sales. Marketing and sales are associated with the purchase of products and services by end users. So, these are the activities such as the advertising, promotion, sales force, channel selection, channel relation, and pricing. So, when it comes to Apple marketing and sales, Apple sells its product through the following 7 sales channels, which are the Apple retail stores, Apple online stores, direct sales force, third-party cellular network carriers, and wholesalers. So next is the services. So services includes all actions associated with providing service to enhance or maintain the value of the product. So when it comes to Apple services, Apple is famous for exceptional quality of customer services during all 3 stages: the pre-purchase, during the purchase, and post-purchase. The company maintains Apple Experience in centers in major cities around the globe where anyone can use its product to become convinced about the quality of the products. So, Apple sales assistants are usually trained and polite young males and females who are technically savvy and happy to demonstrate the product features and capabilities of the items. In the post-purchase, customer service is also impressive with unique iPhone trade-in programs that allow iPhone users to upgrade their phone to newer models with additional payments. Customers can also return the Apple product items that they purchase directly from Apple, either online at an Apple retail store. Product can be returned within 14 calendar days after the purchase. So the second type that Porter described is the support activities. So support activities consist of the technology research and development, human resource management, procurement, and the infrastructures. Apple spends heavily on research and development. Its brand is known for technological innovations and for the great quality and unique designs of its products. In order to maintain its competitive advantages, the brand has to invest a lot in its research and design. In 2016, it spent more than $10 billion on R&D and 11.6 billion US dollars in 2017. Since 2014, Apple has increased its R&D spending by higher than 5 billions. There are 3 key factors behind this push. They are its growing product range, expanding ambit of Apple's services, and increased focus on the in-house technology development. Next is the human resource management. Human resource management is also a key factor part of the value chain activity of the firms. Apple focuses both on hiring and paying well. This has been the norm since the times of Apple founder Steve Jobs. Apple has always hired the best. However, the style of HRM has increased a change in times of Tim Cook, which is the current CEO. Apart from inclusions and diversity, the new CEO has brought several changes that are aimed at changing the reputation of Apple in terms of the human resource. So next is the procurement. Procurement is also a key focus area at Apple. It has managed excellent relationship with its suppliers. The suppliers are required to provide the workers with safe working conditions and to provide products and services as per these standards. All these factors influence its relationship with the suppliers. However, Apple is also a major buyer for most of its suppliers, and therefore it is mutually beneficial relationship for the two. And last, we have the firm infrastructures. Any organization's infrastructures has a key role in the success of the organization. From management to financial and other resources, plus the culture and structure. All these things form the infrastructures to any firm. The better the management of a firm's infrastructures, the higher the ability of creating profits for any firm. In the case of Apple, it underwent a major cultural change recently. Interrelationship among value chain activities within the firm and across the organizations. So we have discussed already each of the value chain analysis activities, but we should not ignore the importance of relationships among value chain activities. We have two levels. First, the manager of the firm should know the up-to-date understanding of business realities and objectives. Second level, it is improving the efficiency of outbound and help its customers better manage their inbound logistics. Interrelationships among value chain activities within and across the organization. So we have discussed already each of the value chain activities, but we should not ignore the importance of relationships among value chain. First level, the manager of the firm should know the up-to-date understanding of business realities. Second, it is improving the efficiency of outbound and help its customers better manage their inbound logistics. So, integrating customers into the value chain. So, employ the prosumer concept and directly team up with the customers to design and build products to satisfy particular needs. Second, leverage the perils of crowdsourcing. Understanding the perils of crowdsourcing. So what is crowdsourcing? Crowdsourcing, it is the practice of obtaining information or input into a task or project by enlisting the service of a large number. So first one is the strong brand reputation. Strong brands are typically built through consistent, effective marketing, and companies needs to weigh in the potential misbehaving customers to dwarf their careful efforts. Apple are also reputed for being most innovative company. They are trusted by their customers because they have a great reputation or being consistently the best computer and phone manufacturing company. But again, the company's credibility has always been questioned, but Apple always makes a comeback and regains its credibility only for one reason, because the customers trusted their product. Next one is the high demand uncertainty. This involves asking for customers' inputs when market conditions are changing. But sometimes, customers don't know what they really want unless they have already tried it. And the last one, too many initiates. Firms typically benefit from working repeatedly with the same customers.
So now, let's move on to the resource-based view of the firm. It is a very useful framework for gaining insights as to why some competitors are more profitable than others. The resource-based view of the firm combines two perspectives. First, the internal analysis of phenomena within a company, and second, an external analysis of the industry and its competitive environment. Resource-based view of the firm's perspective that firm's competitive advantages are due to the endowment of strategic resources that are valuable, rare, costly to imitate, and costly to substitute. There are three types of firm's resources: the tangible resources, intangible resources, and organizational capabilities. First, we have the tangible resources, which includes financial, physical resources, technological resources, and organizational resources. These are assets that are relatively easy to identify. They are physical and financial assets of the firm. Second, we have the intangible resources, which includes human, innovation and creativity, and reputation. These resources are difficult to imitate for competitors. Lastly is the organizational capabilities. These are the competencies or skills that a firm employs to transform inputs to outputs. Considering the case of Fresh Direct, we can identify the resources as follows. They have their cash, production facility, machineries, and equipment as their tangible resources. They also have their expert employees as their intangible resources. To attain competitive advantage, firms' resources must also be evaluated in terms of how valuable, rare, and hard they are for competitors to duplicate. First criteria is the resource valuable. They are valuable when they enable the firm to formulate and implement strategies that improve its efficiency and effectiveness. Second, is the resource rare? Not many firms possess. If competitors possess the same valuable resources, it is not a source of competitive advantage. Third, can the resource be imitated easily? If a resource is imitable, then any profits are more likely to be sustained. Lastly, are substitutes readily available? No equivalent strategic resources or capabilities to be a source of sustainable competitive advantage. Applying the four criteria, in the case of Fresh Direct, we can say that they have valuable activities and resources. All appeared to provide a competitive edge. The operations and outbound logistics appeared rare so far, although it is not impossible to copy. The innovation and creativity of the administration is difficult to imitate. Lastly, there are also few substitutes for this kind of innovation. Much of the profits of the firm can be retained by its employees and managers or other stakeholders instead of flowing to the firm's owners. Thus, these four factors help explain the extent to which employees and managers will be able to obtain a proportionately high level of the profits that they generate. First, employee bargaining power. If employees are vital to forming a firm's unique capability, they will earn high wages. Second, employee replacement cost. If the employee's skills are rare, their bargaining power is high. Employee exit costs. An employee may face high personal costs when leaving the organization. And lastly, manager bargaining power, based on how well they create resource-based advantages.
So let's take a look at the financial ratios of Apple Incorporation. We have here its liquidity ratio. The first one is the current ratio. Current ratio, this means that the current asset is still greater than their current liabilities. So for Apple, its current ratio increased from 2018 to 2019, but slightly deteriorated from 2019 to 2020. Second one, it's its cash ratio. Cash ratio, this means that only cash and cash equivalents are taken into considerations. So as to Apple, its cash ratio improved from 2018 to 2019, but then slightly deteriorated from 2019 to 2020. And lastly is the quick ratio. Quick ratio means that more than one means that the company owns more than one asset than its current liabilities. So as to Apple, again, Apple's quick ratio increased from 2019 to 2019, but slightly decreased from 2019 to 2020. It indicated that in every $1 of current liabilities is covered by 1.13 of current assets without the need to sell its inventory. So now we go to the profitability ratio. First one is the gross profit margin. A higher gross profit margin means that the company has more cash to pay for indirect and other costs such as interest and one-time expenses. So as to the data of Apple Incorporation, its gross profit margin ratio deteriorated from 2018 to 2019, but then improved from 2019 to 2020, but not reaching the 2018 level. Next one, we have the operating profit margin. Operating profit margin indicates how much profit a company makes after paying for variable costs. It shows from the data that from 2018 to 2020, its operating profit margin deteriorates. For year 2020, Apple makes $241 before interest and taxes for every dollar of sales. So next one, we have the net profit margin. Net profit margin indicates that indicates how much a net income a company makes with total sales achieved. So with Apple, we can see that its net profit margin deteriorates from 2018 to 2020. For 2020, this means that Apple has $0.209 net income for every dollar of sales. So next is the return on investment. So return on investment is a performance measure used to evaluate the efficiency and profitability of an investment or compare the efficiency of a number of different investments. So as to the data of Apple, Apple's ROI improved from 2018 to 2019 as well from 2019 to 2020. The next one is the return on assets. Return on assets shows efficiently a company can convert the money used to purchase asset into net income or profits. So this means that the year 2020, for every $1 invested in assets during the year, produced $0.177 of net income. So another type of financial ratio is the solvency ratio. We have here the debt to equity ratio. So the debt to equity ratio of Apple deteriorated from 2018 to 2019 and from 2019 to 2020. So this means that having 1.72 ratio for 2020 means that the company has more debt than its equity. So next one, we have the debt to asset. So the debt to asset ratio of Apple deteriorated from 2018 to 2019 and from 2019 to 2020. We can see that the debt to asset ratio of Apple is less than 1, which means that it is highly leveraged. Next one, we have the debt to capital. Debt to capital ratio measures the proportion of debt of a business uses to fund its ongoing operations as compared with the capital. So as to the data, Apple Incorporation's debt to capital ratio deteriorated from 2019 and from 2019 to 2020. So we can see that in 2020, the debt capital of Apple is 63% of Apple's operation and is funded with debt rather than capital. The last one, we have the market value ratio. We have here the price earning ratio. The price earning ratio helps investors analyze how much they should pay for a stock based on its current earnings. So as to Apple, its price earning ratio decreased from 2018 to 2019 but increased from 2019 to 2020. So this means that in every $1 of earning, investors are willing to pay 33.9 for year 2020. So now we have the market value ratio. First one is the price earning ratio. Price earning ratio helps investors analyze how much they should pay for a stock based on its current earnings. So as to data, Apple's Incorporation price earning ratio decreased from 2018 to 2019, but also increased from 2019 to 2020. This means that in every $1 of earnings, investors are willing to pay 33.9. Next one, we have market to book value. The market to book value ratio is typically used by investors to show the market's perception of a particular stock value. So as to data, Apple Incorporation's market to value decreased from 2018 to 2019 and hits 5-year low in 2020. This means that in every $1 of net assets, investors are willing to pay $0.4 of its equity.
The second perspective in evaluating firm performance takes a broader stakeholder view. This is called the Balance Scorecard that has been popularized by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. There are 4 perspectives of Balance Scorecard: customer, internal, innovation and learning, and financial. Customer perspective is clearly how a company is performing from its customers' perspective, is a top priority for management. It answers the question, how do customers see us? Second, internal business perspective. It should reflect business processes that have the greatest impact on customer satisfaction that includes quality and employee skills. Innovation and learning perspective. The ability of a firm to make frequent changes on the existing products as well as introducing new products. Financial perspective. Measures of financial performance indicate whether the company's strategy contributes to improvement.